What do you think is the biggest secret being kept from mankind? Hi Reddit guys, subscribe now, or I will be a badass. People that are secretly alive, but dead for the public life and vice versa. I like to believe Kim Jongun is already dead. The person posing for the pictures after his surgery is a doppelganger set up by his evil sister, Kim Yo-jong, who's always been the real mastermind. Getting some real Zuko, Azula vibes from this. There's still a whole month left for everyone who has Kim Jong-un redemption arc on their 2020 bingo card. Kim Jong-un saves Christmas. Not so much a secret, but I think there are events that happened in the past we'll never know about that would blow our minds. Same thing for people who were interesting, incredible, unique, super talented, etc. that were never documented. Recording history has always been shoddy at best, the further back you go. I bet even if we went back 150 years there would be things that occurred that would be historically incredible, but since they weren't recorded we'll never know about them. Stephen Jay Gould said it, I am, somehow, less interested in the weight and convolutions of Einstein's brain than in the near certainty that people of equal talent have lived and died in cotton fields and sweatshops. I often think of the music that has been written and performed for audiences consisting of family and friends that could have packed arenas and festivals. You might never hear your favorite song. Nobody knows what the national anthem of ancient Rome was. It was actually Soldier Boy, believe it or not. CIA propaganda, manipulation techniques and the extent of their reach. The only reason we know about MKUltra is because it didn't work. That most conspiracy theories are actually the conspiracy in of itself. That certain parties are creating crazy conspiracies to confuse the masses between reality and fiction to make them more easily controlled, manipulated. The Air Force literally did this with aliens to obscure various aircraft tests. It's amazing how many UFOs were described as triangular and pointy in the decade before the F-117 became public knowledge. I remember seeing some sort of triangular ship flying super low over my home as a kid in the dead of night. It was almost silent, insanely fast, and at first glance was this terrifying triangle of dotted red lights. The exciting answer would be a UFO, but the real answer is that I lived between two airfields for experimental aircraft testing. The plane I saw was in movies a decade later after being put into military use. People forget that UFO stands for unidentified flying object. If it's flying and you don't know what it is, that's a UFO. UFO equals aliens. True history. I genuinely believe that there have been things discovered in the past that tell a different story of the past and are intentionally hidden. History is written by winners. My teacher said this in middle school when talking about Alexander the Great's conquests in the Indian subcontinent and spoke of theories of how Alexander never won his conquest there, but, because he had a personal scribe it got written down as part of history. Alexander's easy conquests were a direct result of the empire that came before him. The Persians had already conquered most of what Alexander would go on to conquer, and they were known for being ruthless when they needed to be. As such, Persian tributaries were already very well used to being tributaries of a larger empire, or dying trying to break the yoke like the Greeks in Xanthus. According to Herodotus, the Persians met and defeated a small Lycian army in the flatlands to the north of the city. After the encounter, the Lycians retreated into the city, which was besieged by Harpagos. The Lycians destroyed their own Xanthian acropolis, killed their wives, children, and slaves, then proceeded on a suicidal attack against the superior Persian troops. Thus, the entire population of Xanthus perished, but 480 families who were absent during the fighting. So when Alexander came around and seemed nice and likely to let you be if you just surrendered and maybe paid tribute, this was the same deal they've been having with a more brutal regime before. It's very likely they just easily thought, hey, he can't be worse than the Persians, and decided to capitulate to his demands rather than to deal with any retribution as they were so used to from the Persians. A great teacher revised that as history is written by those who could write, which is an interesting and accurate. I guess this isn't a secret, but humanity seems to forget quite often. There is next to no privacy in the modern age. If you're reading this, your information, search histories, shopping trends, personal connections, etc. are currently being monitored and sold in the information trade. Facebook does not give a shit about your aunt's pie recipes, but they'll be the first ones to start advertising the ingredients. The fact there is no privacy, ironically, helps give us privacy. It's like looking for a dead pixel in static. Actively trying to seek privacy now makes you stand out more, like putting a sticker over the dead pixel. The location of all these hot singles in my area. What if you're the exy single? Maybe the hot singles were the friends we met along in the way. That there are people in the world that are richer than the known richest people in the world. If you are that rich, you can afford to be anonymous. 2. I'm not saying that Jeff Bezos isn't rich. I'm sure he is. I just believe that there are a tiny group of people that have more wealth than Bezos, and that they've used that wealth to hide the fact that they are that wealthy from the world. For all of the people bringing up Putin, the Saudi royal family, or the ancient royal families of Europe, I'd like to say, if you know their name, and you know that they're rich, they don't count as being one of the secret wealthiest people. Now, does they? The biggest secret being I know of is probably that fat bastard who sneaks into my house at night and takes credit for all of the gifts I'd gotten for everyone. I had a guy who did the same thing to me, but he even stole our holiday cookies. What a dong. The government doesn't actually care about your grandmother's secret cherry pie recipe. Bullet. Nice try, government. When I was younger, I read a story in the news of a company that had come up with a bacteria that they would put into your mouth. This bacteria was harmless to people, but ate the bacteria that damages our teeth. It would have destroyed the dental industry. For some reason, I never saw it again. Even if this wasn't totally sensationalized quackery that never got out of the petri dish. Given what we've learned in the past couple decades about the human body's bacterial biome and how important and delicate it is, introducing a new bacteria to eat native mouth bacteria seems fraught with unforeseen peril. How much wealth is making major political decisions rather than democracy? Either that or how much the planet is already fricked from climate change. I'm pretty sure the wealth one is not at all a secret. That with all of the alliances between nations, the trade deals, economic policies, mission statements, enmities, backroom dealings, spy networks, wars, etc., the powerful don't have the amount of control or vision that we like to believe that they have. The big secret is that it's all a lie. The only thing holding civilization together is that the vast majority of people think that even though the powerful are corrupt, they are at least competent to hold civilization together. They are not. 2020 is just a taste of that reality. A great quote from Alan Moore comes to mind here. The main thing that I learned about conspiracy theory is that conspiracy theorists believe in a conspiracy because that is more comforting. The truth of the world is that it is actually chaotic. The truth is that it is not the Illuminati, or the Jewish banking conspiracy, or the grey alien theory. The truth is far more frightening. Nobody is in control. The world is rudderless. I don't know, it's a secret from mankind. Teal'c. I believe he is concealing something. O'Neill. Like what? Teal'c. I do not know. He is concealing it. We've already made alien contact and they want nothing to do with us. I too have had this thought. That aliens look in on us every now and again and conclude nope, they're still freaking crazy. The ironic thing here is that if we're being observed by an alien species, they would almost certainly not know humans exist. The odds are very large that they would see our planet as it existed hundreds of thousands of years ago or more. Fuck that place. It's full of dinosaurs, Betty White, and Jimmy Carter. To say it isn't possible to travel incredible distances based on the physics we've currently discovered is like a man telling his friend 2000 years ago that a cell phone is impossible because their scientists have no proof that it is. For all we know, they could be millions of years more advanced than us. At that point it would be like waving your hand above an ant and them not noticing you. We're talking billions of galaxies, then bring in the possibility of multiple universes. And we're the only advanced ones? It takes a real puny brain to think that way. Where did Cotton Eye Joe come from? And where did he go? Top 10 question scientists still can't answer. Frick Cotton Eye Joe. If it hadn't been for that a-hole, I'd have been married a long time ago. Fiddling intensifies. The next possible Earth-ending force. There's a very strong possibility that NASA and the space industry know what it is and when it will happen, but won't inform the general public until it passes altogether, or, if there is absolute certainty it will occur, minutes before it happens. It is, because there would be literally nothing we could do about it and they would not want to cause major havoc in our last minutes alive. By space industry, I was primarily thinking of space programs in other countries, for example Russia, India, etc. And not private companies like SpaceX, which have less focus on researching space itself and more focus on transport in space. Okay Reddit guys, subscribe now, or I will be a badass.